But I want to go through the best gags of this film.
Oh yeah, there's so many good gags in this.
Yeah, so let me see here. So my favorite gags in order, and these are 4 of them. I don't have 5. I guess I do actually have 5. Okay. 1, the funeral scene. The whole funeral scene in which Denise Richards is dressed like Blossom.
Yeah.
And a sexy Blossom at her boyfriend's funeral, and the animatronic T-Rex is way in the background watching, I find so subtly funny.
Where anybody could see it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The morgue scene where they're trying to pick out a new body.
Oh gosh.
For Michael.
I don't want a sister.
Well,
he isn't racist.
What I couldn't get, I didn't know if this was part of the film or not, is that as the T-Rex, Michael kept pointing down whenever they showed a male, and I was wondering if he was trying to see the guy's dick. He wasn't saying, no, I don't want that body. He's like, no, I want to see what's down below.
Oh man, that movie's probably too earnest for that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The Michael Billy fight scene is
perfect.
Amazing.
I mean, okay, I've seen high school fights before. Okay, I think in the history of the world, a testicular standoff has happened.
Oh yeah, somewhere. But
I mean,
would
they're
think it'd be
spearing each other. Like, they captured the essence of a high school fight pretty well there.
Which is not very good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just ugly. Like, elbow drops and spearing people. The first fight I ever got into was in 4th grade, and I elbow dropped a guy, and I won immediately.
That's how you win all the way up through, say, sophomore year.
This bully tried to catch my foot. This bully tried to kick me. I grabbed his foot, threw him on the back, knocked all the wind out of him. Then I did an elbow drop on him like Macho Man because I watched wrestling, and it was over. Backyard brawl, won in like 12 seconds.
Good for you. Good for you.
I grew up a feral kid in Florida, man. That's what we do.
Wrestled gators and elbow drop people.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think there's one more I just want to make sure we catch, is the T-Rex phone scene.
Oh my gosh, where he checks for the quarter.
But it's not even that. His arms wouldn't be long enough to go to his head. So it doesn't make any sense with physics.
We gotta give props to the lady on the phone. So when Paul Walker gets his brain installed into a computer, he decapitates a scientist, and then he literally smushes a guy into a cartoon smush. Like a Roger Rabbit gets steamrolled over smush. And as he steps out, there's a woman on the phone. She's like, oh my gosh, a T-Rex has smushed a guy. And before she runs away, she places the bet that she's trying to put into her bookie.
It's so much dedication.
I love that lady, man. I think she is awesome. So she places her bet. It speaks a lot about gambling if you think about it. And, oh gosh, I love that scene. And then I like the 2 people that come outside too. Give me your keys. Like, they seem like a real couple. The way that they're just bickering with each other.
Yeah.
And then she wants to turn him into a purse.
I imagine they added that scene because they're like, we need to hit 90 minutes.
Yeah, we need to have this dance scene in the beginning that's minutes long, and then we need long credits. Oh, so get this. I showed Shadow the Vampire to my students, and it's a movie that is incredibly short, almost 85 minutes, something like that. And I showed it to my students, and the credits are 5 minutes long. The opening credits.
So it's an 80-minute movie.
Yeah, so it taught me, I said, this is what you do when your movie isn't 80 minutes. I was like, your movie has to cross a threshold. So if it isn't crossed that threshold, you just make your intro credits and credits at the end incredibly long or slow. And so a 5-minute credit scene for Shadow the Vampire.
Yeah. Do you know, I believe it's Meet the Spartans?
Uh-oh.
It's that the satire that came out right when 300 was around. That movie's like 60 minutes max.
Wow. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is it a satire?
No, it's not a satire. No, this movie or Meet the Spartans.
No, I wasn't trying to like correct you, but Meet the Spartans, like, okay, like,
it's just not really.
It recreates scenes, correct? And with gags.
Yeah. It's not really a satire because it's not no through thread.
Imagine talking about that movie on the podcast.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, we could talk for 2 hours about it. Would someone want to listen to it? I don't think they would.
Exactly.
Like, when's the last person besides you and me to even reference that movie? And we're not even referencing the movie. We're referencing like it's only 60 minutes because someone screwed up.
It would be our best podcast ever and have about 8 listeners. And that would be close to yeah. But, no, I mean, the fight scene I do love. I just, like, with Denise Richards screaming, no, just her massive screams. And then you have Byron just going, oh yeah. Byron's a good friend though. I have to say. So they're like, he kind of ride or dies with Denise Richards. They fight Billy. He threatens to scratch people's eyes out, which is a great threat. He brings her kamikaze drinks with vodka chasers. He believes her when she talks to him. He's with her the whole. Byron's a good friend. And he gives Paul Walker good advice about true love. He's a ride or die friend, man. You want to have Byron as a friend.
He steals almost every scene.
Yeah, he's those. All right, I don't know if you paid attention, but those cops, some of those comments. So I picked this up on the third time I watched this movie. The comments that the cops made about him. Did you hear those?
Yeah. That's one of the few things I disliked about the film. It felt like they were a little bit mean.
That's not even fun. Like, don't drop your keys when you're around him. I was like, oh. I was actually more into the father-son relationship with the sheriff and him. Like they seem. Yeah. They seem to have a nice understanding of each other. You never really get that on screen. I like the sheriff and Byron's relationship.
Byron's great.
I looked up something on IMDb, and so Neville, who was played by George Buck Flower, who's one of the deputies, I love. So he's been in everything, but I love his filmography because I think it's a trend. But he's played a bum, a wino, a window washer, a drifter, a homeless man, a bearded man, a drunken man, a heckler, a redneck, a rich tramp, and an old man. That's the name of his characters.
I guess he needs to be a shoe shiner and a chimney sweep, and he's great.
Oh, I would love him as a chimney sweep. Hey, governor. Being Cockney, stuck in a chimney. Oh my gosh, I would love that.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you, Mark. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you had to have your mind transplanted into a robot, a modern day robot, what's the worst one? The worst possible robot you could be dropped into?
Like an animal robot? Like, you know what I mean?
You can interpret it however you want.
What would the worst thing be?
Yeah.
I guess the worst thing would be a... Oh, man. That's an interesting... So my brain... And my brain has to fit into it, correct?
Well, within reason. Okay. If you need some time, I can go. I have one picked.
What would you do?
Okay. The worst one, the one that I would never want to be placed into, is a Roomba.
Oh, man.
I would be worried that, one, I can't control the sensors. And two, I can't go downstairs. And three, I'd be dominated by a cat just sitting on me.
You know what? I'd be a Roomba then if I could have a cat. If I could have a cat sitting on me. So this way I know I'm doing things, right? I'm cleaning. I'm helping out. I got a cat with me. So, you know, I'm not good company, but at least, man, that's like that one lady from Rogue One's brain being inserted into the Millennium Falcon. So the worst thing.
It's just you'd be a smart refrigerator, which would also be horrible.
Just keep things cold.
You can't really interact with anyone.
I mean, why have I drawn? I never draw complete blanks, but I've drawn a complete blank right now. Let's see. What's the worst? What would be so annoying?
A bridge, a mechanical bridge. You just can only go up and down.
Maybe something that's seasonal, because I get put up in the attic for the year. I wouldn't want to be in like an animatronic Santa or something like that.
That's really good. A waving animatronic Santa.
And then they just put me upstairs in the attic for 11 months out of the year. So the Roomba would have it made.
I feel like I've come up with a better one, but the idea of a big mouth Billy Bass, and then you're stuck inside of it.
Oh, that'd be bad.
That would be really bad. That's a movie we need to get working on.
I wouldn't mind being the gopher that dances.
At
least you get to jam out. Right?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Yeah, that's not bad. What were your favorite scenes?
Oh gosh, so I have a bunch of highlighted things. Okay, so I'm not trying to sound. I love the scene where Paul Walker is talking with Denise Richards. He gets into a big fight with Billy. They get into a testicular standoff and they break up. Later on, Tammy calls up Paul Walker and he's just sitting in his room being bummed. And she goes, "Hey, I want you to come over." And he goes, "I'm on my way." And then he goes, "Yes!" And then he goes into his drawer, grabs a condom, but you can see the excitement on his face. Like he's just sitting there going, "Yeah!" And then he shows up at her house and he's just like an 8-year-old kid acting really nervous. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so nervous." And he says that too. He's like, I don't know, I know that's random, but just seeing him be so he just he pulls that off, right?
Yeah, then, you see him being a teenage boy. Yeah, that's like the most realistic part of the film. Like that's how you're going to react, right?
And then the doctor, when he shows up, the doctor's name is Gunther. He was the one who wants to. It's Gunther and Helga.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like when he's beating on Paul Walker's chest, and he's like, "Live, live, live." Yeah, well, that's it. It's good. It's good timing. It's by the guy who Weekend at Bernie's guy, which is funny. The dead body. And then let's see. I like the gambling lady. I like when the cars smush on the people. The bartender I thought was pretty interesting. Interesting character. And then, let's see. The weirdest line in this movie. Weirdest line. The doctor and Helga are sitting outside of Denise Richards' house. They're waiting for her. Denise Richards comes back, and he's like, oh, she's been with a dinosaur. And Helga goes, how do you know that? He goes, look at the way she's walking.
That guy's such a perv.
And I was like, what?
But here's the thing. We saw the dinosaur. He had no animatronic dong.
That's so weird that guy says that. Like, he had free reign to improv, you could tell. And then also at the end, when she comes home from school, she has an 18-year-old brain that has a video camera for eyes in her bedroom. And she just pours whiskey on his brain. 2 shots. Like, big pours. In, like, 2 minutes. She just dumps whiskey into his brain.
So I don't quite understand the ending of this movie. Denise Richards is doing a sexy dance for the brain. But I am here for the dance. And because it's not actually very sexy. It's very awkward and weird.
Yeah, she didn't want to do it.
She did not want to do it. I actually kind of feel like she might have been forced into doing it. But it's sort of sweet because it's so awkward. You know what I mean? It's like innocent in a way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this is like a really good role. Like she has this. He keeps saying it during the movie, but the innocence, yeah. Like you could tell she didn't want to do it. It's very awkward. The stuff they're saying to each other. It's a weird scene, but it's so weird that it worked. Someone wrote that.
So they were very high when they wrote it.
And he was pretty plowed by then. And she was going to go check out the frozen bodies of skiers. He's like, oh yeah, I like skiing. They're trying to find him a body.
I was impressed that Vinegar Syndrome, they put out the Gore cut of this film, managed to get an interview with Denise Richards about this film.
She had nothing but nice stuff to say about it.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, oh, she actually had a really good time and was just enjoyed making this film.
Now, I did get a little annoyed because, I worked on film sets for years. Mm-hmm. And I did like 150 plus production sets that I was on easily. And they're talking about how in this movie you can see you can see smoke in the background. There were massive fires around the area. This AD one day went up to the fire marshal, gave him a couple $100. He's like, okay, you can stay here for a couple extra hours. And when Denise Richards was talking about it, she said, I really appreciated, she's like, this was crazy filmmaking. Like a fire was coming and we just barely got out, but we had to get the shots. And she's like, I admire Stewart for doing that. But I got to tell you, man, I don't admire Stewart for doing that. I've been on film sets where there's been injuries, where there have been deaths. I was on the show one time. I don't want to say what it is. But I was walking and I was in the deep muck in the Everglades with the camera. I stepped into a gator hole. They're like, if there's if there's an area in the ground that's sunk, but it's kind of shallow in diameter, it means a gator has crawled out just its body and it can sink in there and wait to strike when something swims over its head. Like I was stepping in those and the people were telling me not to drop the camera. Hearing them say, the AD, and it's a very old school Hollywood thing to do is get the shot. The AD gets the shot. We got to get the shot. But I don't know, when you're putting your crew at risk, they got it and everything was fine, but it kind of annoyed me because I've seen some really bad accidents and I've been in some weird spots and I don't know, that triggered me, I guess. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it kind of annoyed me too and made me a little bit scared for the crew, even though this was 30 years ago.
And then also, go for it. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to expand upon how dangerous this was because during the interviews, they said it was 20 miles were engulfed in 20 minutes or something. And I might be exaggerating, but it was a fire that just swept through Thousand Oaks very quickly.
Yeah, it moves fast. I love that movie, Only the Brave. It's incredibly underrated. Not many people have watched it. It's one of the best looking movies you could possibly see. And it tells a true story of these firefighters that fight those kind of fires. And one day they just went out there and then they just got completely swarmed in no time and burned. So it's just it's just I don't know, that annoyed me. I'm getting on a high horse here. But I also like what Stewart said during his interview, that it was just him talking, that I found to be very engaging when he said when he's shooting. So the difference, can I explain a couple things for you? I don't want to be like Mark explaining.